Hello gang, just a little quick video series this one. This is from my archives and it's the 172 Revell Concorde, a build of mine that Mike Mountain from the Smooth Dungeon crew chose out of my stash for me to do a little while back. I'm currently not the bench as such at the moment because I'm recovering from my surgery, so I thought I'll sit and edit this a little bit and upload this one just to keep you guys going. There are a few other builds in the pipeline that I've alluded to, so as Smooth would say, or ask me to say, without further ado, here's part one of the Concorde build. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you for watching. Thank you to all my subscribers for subscribing and for all the lovely comments I get. It makes this worthwhile. So thank you all. Bye bye for now.
Shut up and sit down.
Time to introduce my next build. This one is dedicated to the man that sent me that, Smooth Industries Christmas card, Mike Mountain. This one, my friend, is for you. And it's a beast, a 172 scale Concorde. Measures in a hefty 85.9 centimeters long by 36.3 centimeters wide. So Mike, as discussed on the hangouts, this is the one I'm going to build, and it is an absolute beast of a size kit. I'll just drop the lid off. Literally my hand, that is just the tail section. It's the length of my hand. Like I say, it's about 3 foot long, this bad boy. So obviously contents of the kit, as you all well know, bags full of plastic parts. I'm going to light this and I'm going to put sound in it as well. The sound is going to be concealed in the actual engine thruster section. It's a 3-piece section this, so I'm hoping the middle section I can have as a removable piece. Drop my soundboard in there and Bob's your uncle. Might try and get a remote controlled circuit board. This is going to be hanging from the ceiling in my man cave. I've been playing with Arduino recently, and part of me wants to go all out and try a few little new tricks. Ideally I'd like to be able to motorise the nose so that when you push the remote, the nose will rise up or lower at the press of a button. Ideally the same with the landing gear. I just need to explore the kit a bit more just to see the feasibility of that. I might be, you know, hoping too much for it there, but certainly I'd like to be able to raise the nose and lower the nose automatically. I'll have a play. If it looks like it's going to be too much of a bind or a butcher's job on the kit, then I won't bother. Obviously, due to the size of this kit and the parts and manoeuvring it, because it's only just going to fit on my bench, what I'm going to be doing beforehand, and I'll do it off camera, is I shall be going through the instructions and probably find that I will cut all the pieces off the sprues and then compartmentalise them in sections like I do on my hobby craft with my hobby zone drawers. Reason being is it's such a huge kit that I'm going to be struggling to sort of do this on screen whilst recording. So I'm gonna, like I say, I'll have the cockpit section, I'll have all the pieces denubbed, sanded, probably even primed. I'll do a lot of the painting off camera as well. It's just a standard airbrush setup that I use in a spray booth. You know, it appears a million times on my videos, but I think for this one we'll just focus on the build sequences. So I'll prime everything and paint everything off camera. Now, I've done a bit of YouTube searching on this and a bit of internet investigation on this kit, and apparently it is an absolute ball ache, excuse my language, but that's the best way of describing it, of a kit to build. Sanding seams, you know, a lot of fit issues and that. So if I encounter that, what I will tend to do on this video is I'll focus on the fitment issues and ways to actually remedy the fit issues. So for those of you out there that have problem kits and are not quite sure how to go about resolving them fit issues, this might actually help you. So bear with me on that, you know, and what I'll do is, if there's a fitment issue on a particular section, I'll add that to the title. So if I'm doing, I don't know, say the nose cone section, I'll have the video nose cone section, resolving fit issues or fixing kit problems, or whatever I choose to call it, and I'll have a little bit of detail in the comments saying, look, you know, for those of you out there building this kit, if you're at the stage where you're doing the nose cone and you're finding fit issues, watch this episode, it shows you how to resolve them. So it'll be a bit of a tutorial process on some of the episodes, but I think it might help a lot of new modelers out there, and some of the less experienced guys that perhaps don't trust that they've got the skills to remedy some of the problems with a kit. It might help them think, actually, yeah, now I know how to do it, I can achieve that, and it will give everyone a boost, and not let them feel so defeated if they come across a problem. So I'm hoping this is going to be an enjoyable build for you all. Like I say, this is dedicated to Mike Mountain, a good friend of mine, and he's done a 1:144 scale of this build, and I think that he's looking at perhaps getting the 172. So for you, Mike, sound bloke, decent fella, this build's for you, mate. So I'm going to pause there, go off, de-sprue, de-nub until my heart's content, and then we come back, we'll be ready to start building the sections, and these will all be pre-painted, pre-decaled and everything. So you'll see a step-by-step build sequence through the instruction manual, but the parts I'm fitting will actually be painted, weathered, everything beforehand, and I'll focus solely on fitment problems and things of that ilk on this build, because it is a huge kit, and you know, I've got to clear off pretty much everything off of my bench apart from my hobby zone cabinets just to fill it on there, hence why I'm choosing to do it this way round. So I'm going to pause, start denubbing, and when we come back we'll be ready to start section 1. Bye bye for now. Rightio, Concorde part number 2, or 1 actually. Right, as I said in the intro, there are some issues with this kit that are widely documented on the internet. So I'm approaching the build away from the norm of the instructions. So to start with, I think I'll just go through the instruction sheets for you to let you know where you're going to encounter issues and what we're going to do to try to resolve them. The first huge issue with this kit is this, number 7 on the instructions. It's the mechanism to raise and lower the nose and visor. So what do we do about it? Well, the first thing is I'll just dig out my drawer of parts just to give you an idea of what I actually mean. I don't know why Revell did it this way, but they did. And hey, what do I know? The nose mechanism pieces, for some reason, Revell make out of the same clear plastic that you get for canopies. Okay. Now, as we all know, that stuff is really, really fragile and snaps and falls apart, and pretty much everyone I know and every video I've seen, people either glue the nose up and fill it, or they glue the nose down and just leave it, because this mechanism breaks. You've only got to look at it and it'll break. Okay, it's clear plastic. Ignore the white piece of styrene behind it, I'll explain that in a minute. But yeah, it's, excuse my language, it's crap. Sorry Revell, but it is. So, there's ways and means you can go around it. Me being me, I've actually made replacement components, complete scratch build, like so. Okay. It's not finished yet. I've got to file down some of the pins and all of that lot. Okay. But instead of using the Revell clear components, which I had actually broke anyway, because I'm clumsy, as you can see, I've just dropped everything. See? So I've made exact replicas of the plastic pieces, but out of styrene sheet. Okay. The reason being, like I just said, I snapped mine. How I made them: sheets of styrene, I glued 3 layers together to form a nice thick sheet. Cut out a square, and then I got a component like that, drew round it, cut it out, got some files, filed it, faffed around with it a lot of time actually. You know, we are talking over 3 days here, probably 2-3 hours a day, just playing with these little parts and test fitting them and faffing around. As you can see, I've actually not done too bad a job. They all work. I've test fitted it. It does what it says on the tin. So that's one option you can use. Another option that I accidentally stumbled upon after I'd made my own fittings was sprue goo. So if you've got some sprue goo, fine. If you haven't, sprue goo you'll often hear me talking about. What it is when you get about halfway down a bottle of Tamiya extra thin, save the half bottle and then cut little bits of styrene, little bits of sprue, and feed it into that half bottle of extra thin. Leave it overnight, and what it does is it melts the plastic and it makes sprue goo, which is liquid plastic. Okay, so once you've made that, what you want to do is carefully cut these off the sprues and glue them together. Leave them overnight to set. Don't bother trying to fit them together or anything. And then all I did is, on a pair of tweezers, I held that part and I dunked it in the sprue goo, pulled it out, and as you can see, it stuck to the styrene or the clear part and started making it more plasticky. So that had about 3 dips on that, and that's as hard as nails. But I've already made my bits, so I'm going to use these as spares. Okay, and also when I'd done this one, I joined it together and I cut a little bit of styrene and glued it across the back with some sprue goo, just to strengthen these 2 legs, because that's where the snapping happens, at this little intersection, because there's a hole that holds this. Okay, so there's 2 solutions for you there that'll help you if you've broken your nose mechanisms. Me personally, I'm going to use them as spares. I've already built mine. So again, 3 layers of styrene, mark out your holes, use a little pin vise, drill your holes, bob's your uncle. As you can see, I've made my own screen lowering parts, and I've got a bit of styrene in the window there that I shall slide in and paint, and it will cover up them mechanisms when the visor goes up and down. Okay, so there's a solution for you. If you're not comfortable making your own, then, like I've just said, dip the actual clear parts into some sprue goo, leave it for a couple of days to harden, and you'll end up forming your own pieces. Okay, so that's a solution to that issue, hence why on the instructions I've got make my own version. Right, that's that one out of the way. Issue number 2. Fit and finish on this kit is notoriously bad. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos on this kit because I've had it in my stash about 2 years now, and several times I've gone to build it and I've watched a YouTube video of someone else building it, and they've pretty much come across all of these problems and given up the ghost, or said it's only fit for the bin, so it did kind of put me off the kit. But I'm sort of having a bit of a one-man crusade at the moment. There are a lot of Revell haters out there for this reason, totally justified, but it puts a lot of new modelers off because, you know, budgets, and you know, we're all living on budgets these days. You know, Revell sometimes is the only option a lot of people have, and if they're seeing negative stuff, they're kind of going to be put off the hobby. So I'm hoping by me taking on this little crusade like I did with a bus and things, just to prove you can actually make a good kit out of them with a bit of time, effort and work, it might get people into the hobby more and get them into scratch building and you know, dealing with fit issues, and at the end of the day you all become a better modeler for it. Result. So hopefully Fester's tips, or whatever you want to call them, might help you out. Anyway, the next issue you have is the wings. I would thoroughly recommend not really following the instructions to the letter. If you've got a 1:1:44 scale aircraft, when you open the box, the fuselage is in 2 halves, perfectly front to rear, seam down the middle. You glue the 2 halves together, bosh. Well, obviously with this Concorde, it's a massive kit, so it tells you to build the fuselage in sections. Okay, so you build your nose cone with the interior, you glue both halves together, as you can see in the pictures. Well, sorry Revell, that is total yeah, begins with a B and ends in a K and with an S on the end. Don't do it, okay? Just write on your instructions, don't glue together. exclamation mark. And I'll explain that to you in a minute visually, because I've already faffed around with this off camera just to see what my resolutions would be with tape and PVA fixing parts, and at least with that, if it didn't work, I could take it apart again, because I wanted to make this build so that anyone watching this video can follow my instructions and turn out a completely finished Concorde without too much stress. That's the aim of this video. So don't glue them together, just put your interior in and your bulkheads, but don't glue the two halves together. If it comes to it, just put a bit of masking tape over them, or glue them with a couple of dabs of PVA to stick them together, but don't permanently fix them, please. Fit your wheel well into the wings, yes. The next big issue, the landing gear at the front, is in the wrong place. Now, not everyone is going to be comfortable cutting a new bay or moving this front landing gear forward the necessary distance it needs to go. So don't worry too much if you think this isn't something you can do, but I'm going to do it anyway, and I'm going to show you how I do it, so that if you do feel confident, have a go. Alright, but if you don't feel confident and you really think it's beyond your skill level at this time, mate, no one's going to cry over it. It's just I've watched a lot of stuff on Concorde and that, and I'm a very OCD person, not a rivet counter, please don't think that, but I'm a bit OCD, and because I now know it's in the wrong place, every time I look at the kit I'm going to go, that bloody front wheel's in the wrong place, I should have moved that, and it's going to take the enjoyment for me away from the kit. So I'll come back to that in a moment as to how we resolve it. Again, don't glue together. Exclamation mark. Again, you'll see in a minute when I've stopped rambling as to why. Join your top halves and this section of your wings together, but don't glue it to the fuselage, okay? So don't glue to fuselage. Probably spelled it wrong, but I know what I mean. I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, again, don't glue the tail section together. And I'll put a little asterisk, issue. Okay. Also, the next issue, this tail section, this bit here is too thin. When you join it together, it's half the thickness of the rest of the tail, and you end up with a bog awful seam. I'll show you what I mean on this section. See, look at the difference in thickness. Yeah, and you got a really horrible ridge there. It sticks out like a blind cobbler's thumb. It really does. So the solution to that, I think I've got a piece somewhere in my drawer. If I haven't, I'm going to crucify myself. There it is, right next to me. Solution, cut a bit of thin styrene, slap it over the tail section, it becomes the same thickness as the piece next to it, and does away with a seam. Yeah, glue it, let it set, and then trim off the excess. Down level with the tail section, give it a quick sand, don't worry about it then until you join the other halves together. Okay, you'll notice my tail section was attached, I'll explain in a minute. A lot of seam issues which we'll resolve when we put the wings on. this is the bit where section 33, where you'll notice the landing gear is wrong. The reason being, and I'll get a ruler for this, is this main mast that the landing gear sets on is actually supposed to be parallel to the front join on the wing. So this should be a hole there and a hole there, and the landing gear should sit there with the wheels on it. Okay, as you can see, it's a big gap. So what we'll be doing is we'll actually remove the whole section in front of it, move the inboard part right the way along, and then use the piece we cut out to fill in the gap it took up. Easier to see when I'm building the kit than it is to explain. Hence why I've built the landing gear off the craft already. Other than that, the rest of it is going to be a little bit of sprue glue, bit of seam filling and things of that. Now originally I was going to have this hanging from the ceiling, but I've changed my mind. Yep, Fester's changed his mind again. I'm actually going to display this in my front room, so I'm going to use the stand because all the electronics are going to live in there to power the LEDs and all of that lot, because I'm lighting and putting sound in this kit. Right, that's enough of the lecturing and tutorial, or whatever you want to call this part, out the way. Let's move that and bring in the fuselage pieces. Now what I've done is, that's the piece that I was on about with the tail section. I've already done one half of it. See, I'll just bring me light up so that we can see what I'm showing you. Stay there, good boy. Now I've already put one piece of styrene in there and shaped it to continue the shape of the tail. See, and it's now perfectly flush. I've also joined the tail section that they said glue together to the fuselage, because I'm building this half and half like you would a standard 144 scale aeroplane. All I've got to do is attach the front part of the nose to here, but I haven't done that yet because I've been working on the mechanisms. The wings, I've joined the top and bottom halves together, as you can see, off the fuselage, because this is where a lot of fitment problems happen. Spin it around, there's your landing gear internals, and I've left off the end sections of the wings for the moment because I've got to run wires through for lighting to go in here, but that becomes a complete section. You'll also notice there's some really nasty ejector marks in here, and also they haven't continued the leading edges up because of these injector marks, so I'll show you how to fill all of that once the wings are permanently in place on the fuselage. Okay, what I've got here is one complete half of the fuselage, from tail, as you can see, right the way along, and including right up to the cockpit. Because when you build this in 3 sections like Revell says, you end up with 3 tubes. Okay, and where the kit slightly differs in diameters, when you glue them together you end up with a real horrible ridge like that all the way around the kit, and it's a bind. By gluing it half and half, you've got flex where you can manipulate the seam, so you end up with perfectly smooth join, see? All the way around like that. That's half your battle weight. Straight away you can see the difference in thickness there, really horrible. And I resolved that, literally cut out a bit of styrene, bit of extra fin, slap it on.
Slap it on.
Like so. Really give it a wallop. Get your piece and shove it in. Okay, let that set. I put a clamp on it like that and forget about it. Yeah, I'll put 2 on there because I want that to stick to that like the proverbial to a blanket. Yeah, and that's what that'll do. Get rid of my glue. Okay, and we'll sand that down once it's dry. Do that tomorrow. Now when I spin this round, for a lot of you will notice there's different sections. You get all the bulkheads in the kit. But this is all stuff that I've made myself. If you want to do it, do it. It's just flat styrene. The reason I've got it there, ignore the colour of the bulb, because this is a afterburner bulb. But I've gone and made mounting sections for my LED. See the 2 holes drilled parallel together? I'll be dropping clear bulbs in, see, all the way along the fuselage, and then coming underneath to wire them on. That's why I've got this here, okay? And all of the interior of this is going to be sprayed black. Okay, so I'm going to have a row of interior lights all the way down the middle of mine. So that's what all of that strengthening's for. I've left a section of it off here because I've got to modify the landing gear. Once I've done that, I'll show you how I joined all of this to the actual bulkheads and the process. Okay, so I've got 2 halves of a fuselage. I've got the other part of the nose stuck here because I've just been playing with different finishes for it, and they can be glued together. And when you join it, you're just joining the halves together. But I started from one edge because straight away there's a big ridge there. Don't want that, so I started from the bottom, worked me around to halfway so that the seam was flat. And then I'll put a large dollop of sprue goo on the end of here and let it set, sanded it down, and then when you drop this edge together, the sprue goo takes up the difference and you end up with a seam-free joint. So when I come to glue that on, I'll show you how I did that. I'm not going to glue it on for the moment because I need to play with the nose cone, because we're going to be moving the landing gear, if you remember rightly. And this is where it can get a bit scary for people, because you're going against the kit instructions, you're going against everything that you're convinced you should be doing, and it might throw you out a little bit, but try not to worry too much about it. Okay, I'm actually going to join that nose section on now because I've played as much as I can with my seams and everything, so I might as well attach this and it gives you an idea. So I'm literally lining up this edge first, and then I'm dropping in a tiny bit of extra thin, just there. That's the only bit I'm gluing at the moment. Once that starts taking, you're then working your way around in little sections along the fuselage, because you want this seam smooth, saves filling. Okay, that's all you got to do, bit by bit. And then I come a bit further along looking for a gap or an edge that's going to match, which is that one. Tiny little dab just in there. Worry about glue on the surface. What I want to do is start the chemical reaction of it melting the plastic together. Okay. And straight away we're now pretty much looking seam free in a few areas. just need now to run my thumb across here to make sure that that's sealing okay before I do the next piece, which is going to be right up there. So let's just put a little clip on. Don't want too much pressure on it though, that's the key. That'll be too much as well. There you go. A little squeeze with my fingers done the trick. And then a little dabble in that edge there. That's what we want. Just to start joining that together. And that, my friends, is pretty much how we're going to do that. And then I'm pressing it away as it's setting, just so that I end up with a smooth edge. And that's beginning to melt now because I can feel it getting hot. The kit's own plastic starts to fill the gap in. Okay. Smooth. I'm going to let that set now, and then I'll come back at it with a bit of sprue glue on the inside to fill any voids, and then I shall go back over it with some more extra thin, and it'll melt the whole lot together. Bob's your uncle. And that is all there is to that. And that is a nice seam-free fuselage joint. I just want to put a little bit more extra thin in there just to get that to start melting together. That's it. So you'll notice I talk myself a lot. And this is the quick set extra thin that I'm using on this, purely for this reason. Once the first few bits bite, you're laughing. Okay. Smooth, lovely, and it gives you a whole lot less filling to do. A nice nose section on, and then on the inside where there's the gap, that's where your sprue goo comes in, because your sprue goo drops straight in that gap like that. And that fills the void. And all your filling now is on the inside, so you ain't got to sand it, because who's going to look in there and notice that? Right? And that's filled in the void. That now is going to mix with the extra thin and be sucked through into that seam and join it. Right? And it's just beginning to suck it through. Just there, see? That's easy to get off with a sanding stick. Tiny little bit of sanding, nothing wrong with that. A little bit of faff, I know, but I'm sure you'll agree, a lot easier to do that way than the Revell way. I think anyway. So we'll let that set. Okay, once that's set, we'll join the two halves together with some tape, and then we'll cut the landing gear slot. I think that we'll be well on our way then. Slap some extra thin along there now, but we're happy. And I've got to stand that up somewhere now that ain't going to be knocked flying. So that is the trick to trying to get some of the kit issues with this Concorde resolved. I know it's been a bit laborious and not much building going on, but the whole aim of this episode is to try to give you guys just that little bit of help that you might need to get a decent fuselage on this beast, because it's a beautiful kit. It just goes together like a bunch of nails. It's crap. Sorry to say it, but it is. I don't think anyone at Revell's ever tried to build one. If they had, then they'd know exactly why I'm saying that. But my aim here is to, is to not stop people from buying the kit. I want people to buy the kit. They know the challenges, and they can still build a damn good Concorde out of it. And it might just be enough to actually get Revell to perhaps look at this kit over again and do away with some of the problems. Because if they see what we're having to do to sort this kit out, they might look at that and go, well, that ain't good. That's making us look a bit ropey. Let's have a look at the moulds. Let's have a look at what we're moulding out of clear parts and actually mould them out of styrene instead. And then you won't have to do this. But that is how you do that. You're going to end up with two fully complete halves of Concorde right down to the cockpit. Okay, and you build everything into the first half if you're lighting it. That's why I've done this as I have. If you're lighting it, do all your wiring and everything, and try and send your wiring towards this square cutout, because this goes into the landing gear bay. So you'll want to come all the way through these bulkheads, coil your wires up and just leave them, and then you can drop it out through the landing gear down the stand if you're going to stand mount it. If you're not going to stand mount it, then you can put your circuit board just underneath in this little cubbyhole before you attach your wings, and then have your power pack slide in there. But that's what you're going to end up with, a complete half with the bulkheads in. You can then, once you've done your internal pilot's cab, you can glue that in on the nose section down here, drop the bulkhead in. I've sliced two bulkheads because this is the problem landing gear bay. Currently it's there. Well, I'm going to be moving it so it ends up around about here. Okay, so I've had to cut two sections out the base of the bulkheads just to accommodate this. That's why mine's modified like this. If you're not moving the landing gear, just leave your bulkheads as they are, glue this in place, and you'll be happy. Alright, so I'm going to pause and let this dry, and then we'll come back and I'll tape these together and I'll show you how to modify this section, how to brutalise or kit bash the kit and rejoin it so that you don't have any evidence that you've been in there and had to do it. So I'm going to play with the nose a little bit more. It's just setting now, so I've just got to be careful because I don't want to rest it against anything, and I don't want to lean it up somewhere and walk into it. So I'm going to pause, let that dry, probably paint the inside of this black. I'm going to use the airbrush for that, spray it with a black primer inside both halves so that I don't get any light bleed through. So when you next see this, this is all going to be black, okay? The bulkheads, the LED bases, everything. Okay, and then we can start modifying the front end. So I'll see you in a moment.